Okay, so just to give a background, this Krystle's agreed to read for me because I've been struggling with some things. And so Krystle's going to give me a reading. I'm recording this. I may share it later. I may not. I don't know because it's bound to be deeply personal, which I normally don't have a problem sharing deeply personal things. But in this particular case, it may also involve other beings, and I just don't know. So I'm reserving the right, but regardless, I definitely wanted to record it for myself anyway, because sometimes I've noticed even when I do things, readings for others even, there's something in it for me, and I will pull it back up later and listen. And so that's what I wanted to do here. So what do you want me to say, Chris, or do you want me to?
Nothing. I'm just beginning to tune in, see what comes
Okay.
out.
All right, cool.
And it's been a while, so I'm just gonna give what I get.
Well,
And
you know that's what I'm after with you anyway. I don't want you know me. I don't I'm trying really hard not to run from myself.
yeah, we're just gonna take a minute and tune in. There's an intensity, like pressing down, like right here. I'm not sure what that is, but it's one of the things that popped up in my body. Pressure.
That certainly makes sense.
So I don't know why, but there's a book coming into view, and it's like spinning, but it's little, almost like one of my charms, like a book would be thrown. And that could just be a signal for me to use the charms with you as well in the wheel. But we'll leave that and see if anything else comes with that. I feel like my eyes want to move rapidly. Like they need to stop. They need to slow down. They need to be able to focus on something. And it's kind of like the spinning of the book, too. Um, there's a lot of pressure on like the third eye as well. Yeah, honestly, I'm relating this to something I said the other day that I've actually been thinking about even afterwards, to where I was talking about absorbing so much information that it like fragments the mental body. And I was like, I try my best not to do that, instead going within and just seeing simply what what I personally am getting, because I know that happens for me. So that could be potentially something that might be going on with you as well. It's like almost like a clutter of the knowledge of everything. We take so much in, and it's hard for anything to stick, because as we continue, it's like fragmentation. It's crack in the mental body. Yeah, and like my left eye is super itchy, like I want to rub it right now. And there's something that needs to be seen. Like there's something that needs to come into focus. And it's almost like it won't slow down to be able to come in. It's like it penetrates that mental body, but it's not fully processed and it's not fully going in. And also there's like a surrender feeling that needs to take place. And as I close my eyes again, I'm seeing a neon picture, like a neon screen, and like a masculine energy with his back turned, looking out over the water. Now, I don't have a card like this. It literally looks like a tarot card or an oracle card. And you can see the sky, you can see the water, and it's just like a man. I mean, you can tell it's a masculine energy, almost like a guru type of person, like a monk type of person, with his back turned. You know, he's got his hands right here and he's looking out into the water. So that could be representing, you know, some sort of masculine within you, whether it be like an archetype, whether it be like your masculinity. Just taking those moments to be with yourself, to look across the water symbolizing the emotions, allowing everything to slow down. Like you know, it's almost like because everything feels like it's spinning, everything feels like it's going so fast, something needs to be focused on. A scene like that to me would really represent a time of stillness, a time of slowing down, a time of allowing for your flow, not anybody else's, but yours. Um, so it's almost like this energy needs to be encapsulated, or your energy needs to be encapsulated in your own little bubble, so to speak, to allow for that whatever needs to come through to come in. So, okay, so those are the things that are just coming up, just tuning in. I am going to do the charms because I feel like that book could have been like, hey, why don't you go ahead and do this? See, a lot of them didn't even go into the houses itself. They're up here in the center. Yeah. So we have a money sign and an owl in the center. And usually when something goes in the center, it's almost like these are the things you're focusing on. Like there's high energy around them. Whereas if they come out of bounds, it's something that may need to come in to be focused on. So, you know, finances, money, anything like that. And that could just be the energy that's showing up presently because, you know, I know that you're wanting to get on here and help me raise some money. So that could be why that's showing up. Of course, the wisdom and the knowledge coming in with the owl itself, thinking about that mental body, thinking about how all the information is coming in. And it can distort what you truly feel. You know, if we listen to a lot of different teachings and a lot of different people, like it can fracture that mental clarity. Let's see. So nothing in the first house. In the second house, we have a ladder coming up here. So has there been a focus on um like really working in that second house energy? The second house energy, to me, I've come to understand, I don't think I've ever seen it out here as such, but it almost feels like right when we develop a shadow, it's like going into the underworld. It's where something is created, and it usually creates like some sort of worth type of energy. I know a lot of people will say the second house, you know, textbook, you know, it's finances and your money, and things like that. But I feel like there's a high connection, especially this day and age, with money and worth, money and worth. It's almost like they're tied together, they're synced together a lot of times. So there could be something there about working with that energy, working with knowing what you're worthy of, working with knowing what you're deserving of, working with embodying your trust, you know, with what it is that you do, things like that. So this is like climbing the ladder, leveling up in that area. It could represent just you being aware of what you deserve, what you are worthy of. So whether it's you're already working on it or it's something that needs to come into focus, self-doubt type of energy, things like that, I would say within that second house. Also working in the depths of someone, working in the depths of your soul to see what those shadows are, to bring forward that truth for yourself so you can rise above. The third house, we have a little um, bow and arrow, like a Sagittarius type of energy, very fiery type of feel, with the little B here on the third and fourth house cusp. The third house, there's like almost a barrier that I'm feeling with this B energy and the fire energy, the communication, like a barrier in the communication. And this could have a lot to do with home as well, because it's coming up on that cusp of the third and fourth house. So, there could be a blockage of communication. There could be, some things that are kind of rotating in the field that's like misunderstandings. Oh, that stung a little bit. Oh, this is bothering me. That sort of energy. Um, with that Sagittarius Archer bow right there, when you look into the depths of it, when you're trying to understand why did that bother, you're bringing in that element of understanding, of bringing, that knowledge of what is actually occurring versus just taking things personally, or someone else taking things personally in an environment, um, to come to that understanding. Once you realize where you're operating from, everything else makes sense. And then as you begin to understand that, you begin to work with that energy, and that fragmentation begins to, repair itself, and your whole field begins to repair itself. So if there's some sort of language barrier or communication barrier or misunderstandings taking place, that could be something that needs to be focused on as well. Because I feel like these and the ladder in the second house is attached to where it could potentially be causing some sort of friction within inside of you about your worth, about who you are, about your power, your authority, all of those things that make you you. It's almost like a distorted type of feel. Those, I'm seeing the imagery of like a chain, those are linked together. The sixth house, we have a little pineapple here. I don't really know what a pineapple would mean, other than like, seeing this, maybe like seeing the sweetness in life, like what is delectable, what is delicious to you, what is around you that is filling your body, the sixth house, with things that are good. The toxic energy, or, and that can be created from a communication barrier. And that absorbs into the physical body. So with the pineapple, you could start to look around for things that feel good to you, the beauty around you, what even tantalizing your senses would help in this particular experience right here. Like, what sounds sweet to you, what tastes sweet to you, what feels nice to your body. So working with the mental body, working with the emotional body, working with the physical body in a way that brings pleasure, that brings joy. Once you shift into that, other things begin to shift as well. Do you have anything before you go?
Well, it's just you're hitting on so much because of what I'm moving through right now. Again, it's just some of the stuff that I thought I had already moved through. And I know that, I'm smart enough to know that it's never one and done and it's over with. But I guess I'm a little surprised at, because I do suspect what I'm moving through physically right now has manifested itself due to not just unresolved, but stuffed down even,
Mhm.
because of Well, and a boil has to do with rage generally or anger. And so I'm just a little surprised at the manifestation of my physicality right now. And I know whom I'm angry at, and it's ultimately at myself. No matter what has been done outside of me to, in whatever way, call my attention to this anger, it is directed at me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be having this issue.
Right.
And I'm aware of that. I guess I'm just, and it's a little bit, it's surprising in a lot of ways. It's also difficult to move through because it's a loved one that has helped me to see this. And so I'm also seeing that I had some expectations,
Mm-hmm.
apparently, that were,
Yeah.
you know, and I honestly, I don't feel as though they were unrealistic expectations. Um, but I know better than to, have expectations of any kind.
Yep.
Um,
Well, that seemed to be an energetic yesterday. It was very, very loud as well. I had some things go on to where I had to check myself with that yesterday too. My
with anger.
expectations
Oh,
with
expectation.
anger, with expectation, they went hand in hand.
I gotcha. Okay, well, oh, and now okay, so that being shared brings that whole other synchronicity that I was sharing with you in regards to that article about Jung and what he found because and I haven't finished reading it because now I know I'm supposed to record it because in the midst of everything yesterday I had stopped reading it even though I got a because I did get a nudge and I had decided I wasn't going to record it. And then it was sent to me by a viewer this morning who said, I don't know you very well, but I suspect that this applies to me and you. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. Now that's very interesting on so many levels. And it has to do very much with just what you just said. It was a very loud, energetic that affected you as well. And this article has to do with those who have what Jung called a differentiated perception. They feel the collective unconscious so much so that they take it into themselves
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes become isolated
Yeah.
and in my word would also be ostracized because that has happened to me on more than one occasion. And I know that also makes me question my self-worth. I don't want to necessarily be the mirror that shows other people their shadows all the time. And
Yeah.
I don't mean to do it. I am not, this is not it's never ever been a conscious thing that I do. And now, of course, because I want to see all of my own, that makes it scream that much louder for others. And when they don't want to see it and their loved ones, and you
There's the
can,
expectation too, right there. You know,
yep.
I get irritated with that stuff too because I'm like, why can you not see this? You know, and I don't. I have found myself being a mirror so much to someone, to people. Like I will. It's kind of conscious, kind of unconscious, but like act like them to show them how they do. Or, because if they can see it in me, then maybe they can see it in themselves. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? But
And I've done that too. And sometimes unconsciously, I've done
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then
And
it
I'll
gets,
think about it later and I'm like, that was not me. Like,
that's what I mean.
it's a
And then
form of channeling.
and it gets hard to
Yeah.
differentiate who is really, what is really the issue here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep. But I
And
guess
then
in
there's
those
the hurt.
instances,
And then there's the hurt that ends up happening, especially when there's been either miscommunication or just not, because then you start wondering, you're told that this and this and this is going to happen by a loved one. And not only does it not happen, but then it's as if I did something wrong in
so
the.
there's also a frequency of like a demand of perfection coming into play here as well. An unrealistic expectation of either you and or that person being perfect. We put those and place those expectations on ourselves and other people all the time. And
And I
maybe that's
do
a root
know
here.
you're so right. And I
Why
do
why
know
do we demand perfection from others and ourselves? So maybe that is the fractured mirror here.
that could be right,
Why
because I have a
why?
problem with that. I've always been a perfectionist, so you could be right about that. And but how do you go through life trying to set up things if you ask folks to do things, or you and they agree, and then there's no follow through and no communication, and now you're just twisting in the wind, not knowing what to do,
Yeah,
and and then I find my little being reacting in a fight or flight situation where the body
yeah,
just.
yeah. I mean, I've dealt with the same thing my whole life,
Me
you know,
too. Me too.
my
But
whole
now I
life.
see it, and I know that part of it is mine and part of it's not. And I'm also at a loss for how to make myself feel better in this moment of now. And it's manifesting itself through my body in a very painful, uncomfortable way.
Yeah. Well, you have to go back to one of your very own things that you said. Yeah, I've heard it many times when, since I've known you, you saying other people are going to like choose their own actions. Like we have no control over. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So what is inside of you taking it personally that someone else chooses to act that way? Because there's only some variations here that could possibly make sense. Do you indeed see it coming from your own self? And that's what you're really angry about? Do you do the exact same thing
I
in
think
other
that's both.
circumstances and other experiences? You know?
I do think there's a bit of both in that, actually. I
Yeah.
do. Because I can clearly see, sense, and feel some situations that I have been involved in where I have not followed through on things that I've talked about doing.
So if there's that, there's obviously guilt, which can manifest as anger,
Yes.
um, and all the things in the physical body. For me, it wasn't so much as not showing up for other people, but my root of why I kept seeing people tell me they're going to do something, don't show up, change of plans, whatever was, I wasn't showing up for myself. And I was angry about that. Angry about that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it's
Sit here and
both.
put all this energy and show up for other people. But when it comes down to showing up for me, there was a distortion there. There was an issue inside with me on that.
Well, that's why I say I think it's both for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not, I just don't get, and in this particular instance, I'm positive that it's both. because when I have sat and look at it, there are things that I have agreed to do, even with you, my love. Things like, remember I was supposed to set up this came in yesterday. I was supposed to set up a link for New Light Streaming Love for PayPal, and I never followed through on that. So you see, there are things that I know that I've agreed to do that I haven't fulfilled. And as I was sitting with that yesterday, I was shown that in particular.
Yeah.
So I do think it's both. It just becomes so painful when especially when it's a child, your child,
Yeah.
your own child. And there, what you were saying earlier about miscommunication and worth and those being connected. Yeah, because then it makes me question, what does that mean for me where he and my relationship is concerned?
Yeah. But if you take that into a broader view in the grand scheme of things, he literally is just playing the role that you have chosen to experience for yourself right
No,
now.
I think you're right about that. That's why I'm not, I could not bring myself. I wanted to scream and stomp my feet and act a fool. But I also knew very clearly that there was a lot of that had to do with these expectations and how did I bring this all on to me? Because that is exactly how this played out for myself, and I know there's a certain amount of what he's moving through on his own that has absolutely nothing to do with me. And I certainly don't wish to create any more feelings of shame or guilt for him based on my not looking at my own self in any of that. You see what I mean? Because I know for a
Yeah.
fact that has been done to me in the past by other parental, grandparental, other familial beings that I know, you know, uh, I wasn't even thinking about any of that, but there's, expectations. And of course, I thought I was being very clear in those moments when, as a younger person, when all of that would happen to me with parental. So I knew that it had to do with me and me alone, not. Well, just talking to you about it has made me feel
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's all it really is just being in a space where you can see these things. There's no grand thing you got to do to fix yourself or, anything like that. You are right here, right now, seeing. And once you begin to do that, I mean, you have the ability to change it.
I was telling Lisa earlier this morning, I am still very extremely hard on myself.
Yeah, that's that second house energy right there. It runs deep.
Mm.
But, I feel like that the root of those is that that perfection, and there's a frequency of control wrapped up in it as well. What can you control even within yourself? Like, how many times do you feel that you're out of control? How many times do you feel that you can't shift this or you can't shift that? So there comes the self-doubt, the trusting in your power. you know it's there.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that. It is there. I'm really grateful to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly you should try what I have tried. Try it for yourself.
Okay.
And it's so freaking simple. There are no tools. You are the tool. Like it's all you literally need. And quite literally yesterday, I laid down and did it again and just, you know, looked at all the things I've accomplished since the last time I tested my theory and moving into a new pattern. It literally is, think of it as a recoding of the experiences you are going to experience in the coming days. You think of it as aligning to how we talk about we align to joy. So once we connect to it, guess what? Those things start coming in. What you are experiencing in what I call the spiral right now is a loop pattern. It's meant to show you something. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing bad about it. It's how we learn and it's how we, process life and it's how we grow from that. It's how we level up. So I would pretty much say that's kind of like a lower spiral territory. What you want is to go into unionizing with oneness, because that's where the juice is. That's where the pineapple is. And it literally is just you taking 5-10 minutes to sit with yourself, and it's going into like that void space. It's moving into that 0 point space where everything and nothing is all at once. It is a different feeling, and it may, depending on how connected you are with that oneness, it may take you a couple times to get in that space, but it is a different feeling from just sitting and meditating. You're going to know you're there. And when you're there, that is the space of co-creation. You literally are in original spark, original life, original breath, original oneness, God, divinity, consciousness in that space. And you are going to co-create with that.
You know what
You're
I
going to
just was
co-create
flashed while you
with
were telling me that?
what?
Another time that I said I was going to do something and it would be beneficial for me, and I didn't follow through.
Mm-hmm.
And that is to record myself doing the BQH script
Mm-hmm.
and using it to do just what you said.
There you go.
Yeah. And I wrote it down. So that's happening today.
Okay. It's such a fun experience because when you come out of that 5 to 10 minutes with yourself, not only have you been in that womb, that void with oneness, so you're feeling the oneness around you. Again, we talk it. There's such a big difference in actually feeling it in your field all around you. It's a really cool experience. And as you think of, okay, you're in that oneness, you're in that consciousness, you're realizing, oh, and you're saying, okay, these are the patterns that I've experienced. How would I like to experience it? And you're going to literally tell yourself in that co-creative state what it is you want to experience coming up in and moving through your new cycle, your new spiral, your new pattern, your new walk in your journey, however you want to word it. You're going to know exactly what you want to experience. And I noticed the first time I did it, as I came out, I was thrown a couple little tests here and there. Are we sure this is the pattern we want to experience? And it's such a like a focal point to see how you went in and repatterned or recoded your experience, and to begin to see that actually weave out here. It's incredible. But yeah, I did that for myself last night. And I was like, I'm kind of thinking of it as not a jump from where I am right now all the way up to I'm going to be the highest version of myself on the highest timeline. No, that's not what I'm doing. Sure, I'm pretty sure you could do that. But since I'm a practical person and I'm a logical person and I want to see and experience this in its fullest because I am testing something, then I want to see the small, significant changes that take place. So what I'm doing is I'm recoding and repatterning my next level. Let's experience this for right now. I want to test myself. I want to test divinity. I want to test the experience. I want to test the co-creation. So let me see how things evolve as I begin to continue to graduate, as I begin to continue to spiral up, right? To ascend, that sort of thing. So, you take it the next step how you want to. You could take it day by day. What do you want to experience tomorrow? Does it happen? How connected are we with oneness to co-create it? This is a really cool thing.
No, I love what you're doing with that. And I love the way that you're approaching that as a testing of a theory.
Yeah.
You know? No, I love that, Krystle, and it's very helpful to me because a lot of different things talk about, just being there, and then you get I get frustrated when that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I like that. Thank you so much. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you really you hit it quite a bit because you talked about that, and I have felt so compressed. But I'm
that's what it
actually,
felt like.
yeah, I actually feel somewhat lighter after this experience with you, and I'm so grateful. So grateful because, yeah, it's almost as though, um, yeah, I see the spiral going both ways now. I mean, I think I've always known that. We've talked about it in other conversations, Lisa and I have. So I don't know if it's appeared on camera or not, but we are always presented with a choice, and we can spiral downward or we can spiral upward.
Yeah.
And we can spiral inward, we can spiral outward. And I was spiraling outward for the last little bit here.
Yeah.
And I think I was dangerously close to getting completely off track, which is what really a culmination yesterday.
Yeah.
Well,
that's when the things come in the loudest and the hardest, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, and it was pretty rough yesterday, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was nudged to turn on the camera earlier and just talk because I didn't know what to do with myself. And I actually said the words that this is as close to I have been to saying, that's it, I'm done. Let's just go on and get it over with. Take me off the planet. I don't know what else to do here. This is, and I hadn't been like that. I hadn't been feeling like that in quite, more than 10 years.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that is how out of hand I feel as though I've allowed myself to get. And so I'm really very appreciative that, you did this for me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you have the power to change that, and it really is about you sinking into your power and being one with life itself.
Well, and I don't think I said anything that I can't share, so I probably will be sharing this video with your permission.
Okay. Yeah.
And I want everyone to know this right here, what you've witnessed between Krystle and I, is what my life has been like over the last, since 2017, with Krystle, with Lisa, finding folks that help to point you back into yourself. That's where it's at for me. And that's why I'm ever so grateful to you, to Lisa. Because this is to me what oneness actually is supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing the divinity in each one and not saying, well, because there's a, I don't know, there's a level of you're the only one that can do this that I appreciate, because you're so right. I am the only one that can do this for myself.
Yeah.
And just having someone to gently remind me that I haven't been taking care of me, because obviously I was running again. I am pretty good at running and hiding from myself in various and sundry different ways. That's
It's easy to
something.
do, when it all becomes so much and spinning.
Yeah.
With those first visions, that's very hard to get even grounded into the one thing that needs to be focused on. It's hard.
Yes, it is. And, in that article that I told you I'm going to be recording and sharing, there was a part there that I did get to, that where Jung talked about approximately 20% of the population is this way. And I was like, did he unconsciously know about projectors? Because all of what I was reading sounded just like what projectors move through quite a bit. And so I don't know, but that's very, I don't know. And again, just having it here to consider as this is what it is very helpful.
Yeah.
I also want to close out this portion of this video by saying we're recording this right before we're going to do our live intuitive hangout session. And I asked you asked if because I asked you if you do a reading for me, and you said, well, yeah, that'll help me get into the flow for what we're about to do. And because part of what we're doing here has to do with assisting you financially as well, because you've been put out of work again now for another 9 weeks. This is the third time, right? This is, yeah, since the surgery. And so, and there'll be a link in this video where you can, if you have the wherewithal to share with Krystle, where you can click on her PayPal and share. And there's other ways that you can do that, both with, if you go to the website, which that will be in there too, www.newlightstreaming.love, which I will have in the show more section there as well. There's varying different ways. Krystle has a sliding scale of readings regarding financial remuneration for a reading with her. And I have offered to do the blueprint work that I do. It offers, I don't know, I have lost count. The one report is 24 pages, and there's a whole bunch of reports in that. And all for, just in exchange of a love offering from me. So reach out to ConsciousConversationCentral at gmail.com if you want to have one of those, and we'll talk about how to go about doing that. So I love you so much, and I'm so appreciative of your assistance.
I love you
And
too.
so I'm going to end this one now so we can start the next.
Will we have to jump back in?
No, no. And
Oh,
I'm just going to stop recording.
okay. Okay.